Hey guys, welcome to Table Saw, our podcast here in Wyoming, Virginia Beach. Today we have two amazing guests with us. They came straight from Kona and they're going to be talking about the School of Bible Studies, the SPS. And I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be super excited about the Bible and how important it is to know the Bible if you want to go out in missions and even to know God even better. So hold on there. Before we start this episode, I want you to share this podcast with your friends, with your family. Please subscribe to our channel so that will make our channel grow even more. And if you guys have any questions or any ideas, please send it to us. So let's start this right now. Yeah, guys, this is so good. Thank you so much for being with us here today. We have Chris and Brendan. They're gonna be sharing with us what is the idea, the heart behind the SPS or the School of Biblical Studies. So, guys, tell me a little bit about you, Brendan. Where are you from? How old are you? Just a little brief, like about you.
Yeah, so I'm from Vancouver, Canada. I'm 23 years old. I grew up, like most Canadians, playing hockey and going through high school, and grew up in a Christian home. And I had always been, since like a little kid, wanting to do missions, and it was kind of this dream that I'd had since I was really young. And yeah, kind of went through the high school routine, playing hockey and making mistakes, and then it wasn't until after high school that I kind of got into missions and heard about Youth with a Mission and heard about discipleship training school and went to Kona. And since then I've been going after Jesus and trying to spread the gospel. And yeah.
So you did your DTS in Kona?
Yeah.
And when was that?
That was in 2018, in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, like what, did you do any secondary schools with YWAM or?
Yeah. So I actually, after my discipleship training school, the week that impacted me the most in that school was the Bible Overview Week. Mm-hmm. And in that, we understood and kind of learned about the whole story of the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. And that stirred me on to want to know the Bible more. And so I did a school called the Discipleship Bible School, which is a 3-month school that is, the whole main idea is to understand the story of the Bible more in depth. And you read the whole Bible in 3 months.
Wow.
And from that point, you're able to tell the story. And then from that hunger grew more and more, and just recently got out of the School of Biblical Studies. And yeah, so which is a 9-month school, and that is where you read through the Bible 5 times, and you study it using a method called the inductive Bible study method. And it just puts you in the shoes of those, or the sandals, if you will, of the original reader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Like 9 months. We think it is like a long time, but now that you guys are done,
Yeah.
it seems like, wow, that was good.
Yeah.
We're done.
Oh yeah. No, it's one of those things where at the very beginning I was like, this is gonna be the craziest. It's so long. 9 months feels like forever until like you said, when you finish it and you realize it flew by. And yeah, so yeah, it was an amazing.
So now you guys are going through your outreach.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's like the end of the kind of the school to kind of like put in practice what you learn, and then have opportunities to teach and everything.
Yeah. Yes. So basically, the outreach portion is basically to practically practice basically what we learned in the School of Biblical Studies, and teaching that inductive method. And so on this trip, we were on the East Coast of the United States, and so we started up in Boston, we were there for like a week and a half, and teaching within a church and within the Massachusetts area, teaching about the inductive method and showing the incredible power of the Bible through that method. And yeah.
Chris, bro, tell me a little bit about you, a little background, where you're from, family, married, single, everything? Just tell me.
I'm very married.
Very married.
Very
That's
married.
good. That's way.
Yeah.
That's a good way.
Yeah, we've been married just over a year now. So, I mean, just like copy and paste things the way of my life. It's pretty similar. Other than I didn't want to be a missionary. Yeah, so I grew up playing hockey, same thing, small town Canada, like 12,000 people. My whole family went through YWAM and did DTS. I never wanted to do that. But then hockey didn't work out and my mom filled out an application and I got sent there, so.
Mom's fault.
Yeah, it was mom's fault, yeah.
So when do you do your DTS? Like how do you?
2013.
13. Okay.
Yeah, so I've been in YWAM 9 years.
Okay. And all that, like you did your DTS in Canada?
In Kona.
In Kona. Okay.
Yeah, I stayed in Kona I staffed at DTS, and then after staffing at DTS, I went overseas for like just under 2 years.
Okay.
And then I came back, and then I ended up staffing his DTS, and I led his outreach team and my wife's. I met in that school, and then did DBS after that, staffed some DBSs, and then eventually did SBS. Now we just finished SBS.
So I heard that you guys, like, you've been to Boston, and that's like an idea that YWAM Boston wants to pioneer like an SBS as well. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, they do. I believe so.
Cool. Well, I love this idea of, like, you know, we always talk to our staff here the importance of, you know, learning the Bible, because if you don't know God, if you don't know the Bible, it's really hard to go out and share the gospel and do evangelism, and questions will come up. And if you don't know what you're talking about, if you're not, you know, really confident about what you're telling people, it kind of like shakes up your faith as well to have those questions coming up. So, and you are 23, you said? Is that correct? And what is like the motivation? Like why a 23-year-old wants to study the Bible? It sounds like, what? You know, what is what brought you to this passion, this interest to study the Bible more?
Yeah. So honestly, the big thing that made me want to study the Bible more was to just know it more, and to be able to answer questions, and if someone asked me a tough question, be able to answer it. And I found that through it, if anything, I probably got more questions myself, and maybe wasn't as satisfied with the answers that I received. And so even though I was so focused on knowing the Bible more, I kind of forgot about the reason, I guess, why we do it. And it was in the last month of our School of Biblical Studies where I began to just understand that difference between biblical knowledge and biblical wisdom. And where biblical knowledge is something that's great, and it's something where you learn more about the Bible, and it's awesome. But if you neglect to apply it to your life, then it's kind of a waste of time. It's a waste of 9 months if you're not going to apply it. And so that is where that difference of just knowing the Bible and having biblical wisdom came in. And that was a big thing that in SBS that I realized that maybe my motivation for wanting to study the Bible more wasn't exactly there, but God met me there, and now understanding knowing the Bible so that I can apply it to my life.
Yeah. What is your, Chris, your like favorite topic, like favorite week or teaching in the SBS?
My favorite topic is Jesus.
So they do have a week teaching Jesus?
No, not in SBS.
Okay.
But in DBS they do.
Okay.
Jesus week. Yeah.
What about the like what is your favorite topic in this school? Like, what do you think was something that was like, wow,
we
should
went by
know
books.
this before?
We went by books, so it wasn't topical. So the lectures are always by books.
And which one was the best one, like that called your attention and you're like, wow, I never took the time to study the life of this character?
Well, I enjoyed reading Romans the most and studying that in depth. And then the Gospels. Yeah.
What is like changing? What do you think, like after this school, what is your perspective of the Bible? Like, how does it change from where you came in the first day of the school and now coming out of your outreach? What is like, how can you see the Bible now? Are you going to read the same way you read before? Like, how is it going to impact your life now with this?
It's a big question. Do I see it the same as I used to? Similarly in some ways, and maybe in some ways I don't. I think when I approach scripture now, I just feel like I have a better grasp of what's going on in the text specifically, and like we've observed so much. So if you're going through the method the way you're supposed to go through it, you land up observing each section like at least 5 times. So you've read that thing through over and over. And I think for me, the biggest thing that I took away was just like having seen the text for myself like so many times. And because I think I've always loved theology, and it's really easy to read about theology and let someone else or watch a teaching on theology. But then to actually like have observed those texts for yourselves and be like, oh, okay, like I see how this goes together. And so I think just like the ability to dissect the text for myself, that is like the biggest thing that I think I got from that school, is to like if someone names a book, it's like I genuinely understand what was going on during this time period. More in the New Testament for me, I just grasped that more, but like, yeah, just a deeper understanding of what's going on, and like how can I actually pull what the author is actually trying to say rather than what I want it to say.
Do you think like your, like going back, or maybe your interaction with your wife, or studying the Bible together, or creating, does that like gives you ideas of like how to study the Bible as a group now, or with your wife, or what is going to change now? Because we know that the biggest treasure we have is the scriptures, and we don't have a lot of people now in our young people, or even like church. How many people were pastors that you can ask the question, how many times you read the Bible? You just shared it. You guys read it like 5 times during the 9 months. But there's pastors that have been pastors for 20 years and never read the entire Bible. And just sit down and take that time to really invest in reading the Bible. So, and we know that if you ask a question, what is the most important thing in a Christian life? It is your quiet time, your devotion, your prayer time, the Bible, reading the Bible. But then if you ask them if they do, they're gonna say, no, I don't have time. Time is a problem. But you guys are sacrificing 9 months of your life, investing, not a sacrifice, but investing in your spiritual life to study the Bible and to really dive into scriptures more than so many people and leaders have the opportunities to do. And you guys did that in 9 months. So we know the importance, we know the power of being a Christian, how important it is for us to know the scriptures. But we don't see a huge awakening. I think it's missing in this generation, this huge awakening of reading the Bible. How, with that said, how was the time that you guys have to study those? Are you allowed to read the Bible in your phone? How does that work? Or you guys go with the paper Bible? Is that a rule, something like this? Or if you guys can share a little bit about that.
So with even what you're talking about, even just sacrificing 9 months, it definitely, there was times where I had to remind myself, because it was a sacrifice, but also it's very much a blessing. It's something that not a whole lot of people have that opportunity to do, is set aside 9 months of their lives to go in depth. And so what that looked like it was around 50 to 60 to maybe even sometimes 70 hours a week of in the Bible, or my face in the Bible. I know I had my face so close that I think I probably got worse eyesight. And so it was just like, it was a lot of just reading your Bible. We had our paper Bible, my little Bible stand, and you dive into the text and observe and interpret that, and spend a good majority of the time also looking at historical background, which for me was probably one of the coolest parts of the school is understanding the setting of when this book was written, understanding who wrote it, who it was written to, because with that it helps you so much to just see what the original intention of the book was. And so it was just the most amazing time. because we got to set aside 9 months and study the Bible and learn not only about the Bible, but history. I learned a lot about history too, which was something that was just amazing. And from that place, is using that as a tool. Was just, yeah, it was cool. It was really awesome.
You guys should be proud of yourselves, because there's a lot of people in church that don't have the opportunity to take aside 9 months of their lives and from work, from whatever they do, and just spend this time investing and growing so much and diving so much in the Bible. And you guys are now coming out of this, the outreach now part, and graduation will be soon. What is after this? Like, what do you guys plan, like personally? Like, what do you guys think that you're gonna do after this school?
Okay. Yeah. Should we rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah.
Okay, I won. So I'm actually going to be staying with the School of Biblical Studies. Again, like I said, I love the school. It was amazing. And so being able to see other people go through the same school and go through the same process, because as much as I say it was an amazing school, it was a very hard school. And so it is such a blessing that I will get to go on staff with the school and be able to work with people where they're at for 9 months, because there's going to be high highs and there's going to be low lows, because there's going to be times when you just don't want to even read the Bible anymore. And just being able to work with these people and show them that, like, I understand, because I went through the same thing last year. And so that is something that I'm going to be stepping into, and from there kind of just working on studying the Bible more. And yeah.
Do you know when is the next SBS?
Yeah, so the next SBS, there is SBSs all over the world. The one that I will be a part of is in Kona, Hawaii, and that will be this fall. So starting October 1st is when the arrival day is, and yeah, so it will go from October 1st all the way to the end of June next year. So yeah, that's when it will.
So you guys run this SBS every year, October to June?
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah.
The idea.
Yeah, so that's usually the date of when it runs, and that's kind of how it's been in Kona for a while.
That's awesome. What about you, Chris? What is next for you and your wife, and what you guys are planning after the school?
Yeah, I mean, we're not totally sure right now. We're still kind of praying into that and figuring that out. But yeah, we're just focused on this outreach right now.
And it's so good to guys to see how God is still awakening young people to know the scriptures, and then it's a pleasure to really spend time chat with you guys and to know more about the passions, because people have so many questions about if I take 9 months, how this is gonna be? Is that hard? But listening to you guys, just it is challenging, but it's rewarding.
Yeah.
It's hard to do it, but taking 9 months of your life and kind of spend time in the scriptures. And that's the passion that we want. God was really clear for us here in Virginia Beach to invest our staff to have at least twice a week. It's not even close to what you guys did, but at least twice a week we have Mondays and Fridays to have our Bible studies, where we're gonna dive into know the Bible and to invest in our lives, because it's so important to know the scriptures. And this came up, this idea after we talked to one of our staff when do evangelism, and a big question came up, and she didn't know how to answer. And we need to go to the Bible, look together. And it's okay if you don't know the answer to say, hey, I don't know, but I'm gonna look into it. And we kind of studied together the answer, and then she kind of figured out, she had a contact of that lady, and she could go back and say, hey, that's the answer. But it's what the world is needing now. We're full of questions, even, why am I here for? What is my purpose? What is my destiny? Which DTS is amazing for it. To answer those little questions.
Yeah.
I'm 40 and I'm still asking God, what's my, my purpose? But once you know who you are, and there's no way to know who you are without knowing God. And there's no way, you're gonna get to know God if you don't dive into His Word. And I think you guys are doing a great job spending this 9 months. studying the Bible in the SPS. And if you guys at home, if you are interested in the SPS, please go to ym.org and you can type it in SPS. It's going to show you a lot of different options to do, and Kona, where those guys have been done their school. And thank you so much, guys, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Just listening to you, I'm just thinking about like so many ideas how we can study the Bible, because this morning was just amazing, and I'm so excited. Like they did one session this morning of went through the whole Bible, so like leaders and ideas and different characters in the Bible, and it was so good. And tonight they have 2 more sessions with us here in Virginia Beach, and where they're going to be teaching us some other skills and how to study the Bible. And I think we're going to study 2 books. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Philemon and
Jonah?
Jonah. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
there you
doing
go.
Philemon.
Are you
Yeah.
guys doing Philemon?
Yeah, we're doing
I know we're
Philemon.
going to divide in 2 groups, Philemon and
Yeah.
John, and we're going to have 2 teams here in different places in our base, and we're going to go through these books together. And I'm very excited for tonight and to receive more and to learn from you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time and saying yes to the Lord and coming to YM Virginia Beach and spend time with us.
Yeah.
It's been really good to getting to know you guys, your stories, your background, and your passions.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with your friends and your family, and Jesus loves you. See you next time.